Outpost Kepri was never meant to matter. It was a joint research station orbiting a dead gas giant, staffed by scientists, engineers, and a handful of diplomatic observers. Humans were there to study subspace anomalies. The Valori were there because they believed those anomalies were sacred remnants of their ancient creators. We were supposed to coexist. Instead, we misunderstood each other in ways that history would later describe as inevitable. The Valori were tall, lean, and elegant, with bioluminescent markings that shifted with emotion. Their culture revolved around strict codes of hierarchy and physical sanctity. Touch, especially uninvited touch, was a violation worse than violence. Humans, on the other hand, were, well, human. We shook hands. We patted shoulders. We helped injured strangers without asking permission. I was a field medic. That was my crime. The day the shooting started, I was in the lower habitat ring when the station shuttered. Emergency lights flashed crimson. The intercom screamed in 3 languages at once. Valori security forces clashed with human marines over control of the central reactor. Someone panicked. Someone fired. No one remembers who shot first. What I remember is smoke, screams, and a Valori officer collapsing in front of me, clutching her side as dark, iridescent blood seeped through her armor. Sarathiel. I didn't know her name then. I only saw someone dying. So I grabbed her arm to pull her out of the line of fire. That was when she threatened me. The middle. Enemies bound by war. The outpost fell within hours. By the time evacuation ships arrived, Kepri was a floating graveyard. Survivors, human and Valori alike, were forced onto the same transport under an uneasy ceasefire. That ceasefire lasted exactly 6 days. When we emerged from subspace, the stars were burning. Valori war fleets darkened entire systems. Human colonies went silent one by one. News feeds spoke of orbital bombardments, of fleets vanishing into quantum storms, of ancient weapons awakening. The war between humanity and the Valori Dominion had begun. I was reassigned to a hospital ship. Prisoners of war flooded in from both sides. And one day, against all probability, Sarathiel was brought aboard, gravely injured after her cruiser was torn apart in a human ambush. She recognized me immediately. "You," she said weakly, her voice stripped of its former authority. "The one who dared." I swallowed. "You're bleeding internally. If we don't operate, you won't survive the jump." Her jaw tightened. Even wounded, she radiated command. "If you touch me without consent," she said, "my people will retaliate." I met her gaze. "If I don't touch you, you'll die. Choose." Silence stretched between us, broken only by the hum of the ship. Finally, she exhaled. "Do it," she said. "But know this. This does not make us allies." She was wrong. Not immediately. Not easily. But something changed that day. As weeks turned into months, our ship became a strange sanctuary. Away from the front lines, humans and Valori bled the same, suffered the same, and stared into the same void wondering if their homes still existed. Sarathiel recovered slowly. Against protocol, she remained aboard. Against expectation, she spoke to me. She asked questions about human medicine, human families, human fear of extinction. I asked about Valori honor, their ancient wars, their belief that the universe itself judged lesser species. One night, as distant explosions painted the stars, she admitted something she had never told another being. "Our creators vanished long ago," she said quietly. "They left us weapons and doctrine, but no guidance for mercy. We learned conquest because we believed survival demanded it." "And now?" I asked. "And now," she said, "I have seen your species risk everything to save enemies. I do not understand it, but I can no longer dismiss it. The war outside grew worse. Both sides deployed planet killers. Civilizations that had existed for millennia were erased in minutes. Refugee ships clogged hyperspace lanes, hunted by automated fleets that no longer distinguished soldier from child. It was Sarathiel who stopped one such fleet. She disobeyed direct orders, transmitted Valori command codes to disable a doomsday array poised over a human core world. In doing so, she branded herself a traitor. The Dominion sentenced her to death. Human Command wanted to use her as leverage. Instead, she chose to stand with us. The war that changed everything. The final battle took place above Arinder Prime, a world sacred to the Valori and strategically vital to humanity. If either side won, the other would cease to exist as a spacefaring civilization. The sky itself seemed to fracture as fleets clashed. Stars vanished behind curtains of fire. Space-time buckled under weapons no species should have possessed. I wasn't supposed to be there. Medics rarely were. But Sarathiel requested me by name. If this ends today, she said as the ship shook around us, I would face it with the one who first defied me. We stood on the bridge together, human and Valori commanders arguing, pleading, threatening. No one trusted anyone. Fingers hovered over annihilation triggers. Sarathiel stepped forward. She removed her blade, her rank insignia. She knelt. The entire bridge went silent. This war is built on fear, she said, her voice carrying across every open channel. Fear of difference. Fear of extinction. Fear that mercy is weakness. She looked at me, then back at the galaxy. I was taught that touch without permission is an act of domination. But the first human who touched me did so to save my life. That contradiction shattered everything I believed. Gasps rippled through Valori ranks. She continued, if we continue, there will be nothing left to rule. No honor in ashes. No victory in silence. Human Command hesitated. Valori admirals raged. Then something unexpected happened. A Valori ship powered down its weapons. Then another. Then a human battleship followed suit. The war did not end in triumph. It ended in exhaustion, grief, and a fragile ceasefire forged by beings who had seen too much death to continue. The ending. After the stars went quiet. Years later, the galaxy is quieter. Not peaceful, not healed, but quieter. Borders exist where battlefields once burned. Joint councils replace war rooms. Humans and Valori walk the same halls, still wary, still learning. Sarathiel was never reinstated as commander. Instead, she became something unprecedented, a liaison between species, a symbol both revered and condemned. As for me, I left the fleet. I teach interspecies medicine now, on a rebuilt station not far from where Kepri once drifted. Sometimes she visits. We stand by the viewport, watching ships pass, human designs alongside Valori curves. Do you regret it? I ask one day, defying everything you were taught. She considers the stars. I regret the lives lost before I learned there were other ways, she says. Then, after a pause, she adds, but I do not regret you. Carefully, always carefully, she extends her hand. This time, I wait. This time, she nods. When our hands meet, there is no threat, no fear, just understanding earned through fire. She once threatened me for touching her. Now, the galaxy remembers that moment as the first crack in a war that changed everything, and the beginning of a future neither of us could have imagined. From the broken balcony of the orbital citadel, I watched the alien fleets withdraw, ships that once darkened entire suns now retreating like frightened ghosts. The sky above the ruined planet cleared for the first time in years, revealing stars that had not been seen since before the invasion. Around me, soldiers from a dozen species stood frozen, unsure whether to cheer or kneel. She stood beside me. The woman who had once threatened to kill me for touching her now carried the weight of an entire civilization in her eyes. Her blade, once soaked in the blood of worlds, was planted into the metal floor, not as a weapon, but as a symbol. Surrender.
Choice. Change.
You should hate me, she said quietly, after everything my people did. I shook my head. Hate is what started this war. She turned to face me then, her luminous eyes no longer cold, no longer distant. For the first time, they looked human. Or maybe I had simply learned how to see her. The Galactic Council would later call this moment the turning point. Historians would argue over treaties, power shifts, and strategic collapses. But they would never fully understand the truth. The war ended because one soldier refused to strike back in fear. Because one warrior questioned the law she was born to obey. Because touch, something forbidden, something misunderstood, became an act of mercy instead of violence. As evacuation ships descended and medics rushed the wounded, she removed the insignia of her rank and let it fall into the wind. Her empire would survive, but it would never rule through terror again. What happens to us now? She asked. I looked at the horizon, where sunrise painted the ruins gold. Now we rebuild. Together. She reached for my hand, no threat, no hesitation, and this time, no one stopped us. Far across the galaxy, weapons powered down, borders dissolved, and a war that was supposed to erase humanity instead rewrote the future of every species that survived it.